There's repelling traits that push people away. We all have them. There's magnetic traits that draw people in. Number one most magnetic trait in people. If you just think and you're just listening today, what is the most magnetic trait in individuals? Many of you would say, oh, a smile is a magnetic. It is. A sincere smile is magnetic, not number one. Humility is good. True humility is not number one. Empathy even. Oh man, that's magnetic. You find someone who can really empathize with you. Number one, according to this study, was gratitude. As you know, this is so magnetic. And you think of it, if you can find someone, not weird, thank you, but I'm saying grateful. Almost all the negative traits go away. Grateful people. If you can build this into your life, you can hardly be entitled while you're grateful. Right. You can hardly be, self-focused when you're grateful, selfish when you're grateful. I mean, almost all the negative traits go away.
Who you just heard was David Horsager, and David is the author of Trust Matters More Than Ever. Actually, he's the author of several books, and Connie and I both heard him at a conference for 800 Holman senior leaders back in June, and we've been really excited about getting him on this podcast, huh?
We knew we needed to squeeze this one in before the end of the year for everyone. It's starting to think about their plans for January. What am I going to do to be working on myself? And trust is probably one of the biggest things, because it's the other thing we learned. It's a skill. It's just not some innate thing that you either have or you don't. It's a skill you can learn with the help of David's book. First of all, he's the CEO of Trust Edge Leadership Institute. So this is all science-based. He's definitely known to be an expert in the field, and he's somebody who's working with large companies. And I would say this is for all of us, not just from a leadership standpoint, but our personal relationships too.
And I would just like to add and reinforce, which is the point of everything that we do, little things done consistently over time is how you both build trust, maintain trust, repair trust, and for us, how to be the sun and not the salt.
And I want to lean into just one other thing, and that's to just promote David's most recent book. We can't wait to crack into it. It was just launched, Trust at a Distance, 6 Strategies for Building Trust Remotely. So with that, on all this excitement, take a listen.
So David, welcome to our Be the Sun, Not the Salt podcast. As you know, you and I have met. I want to introduce you to my co-host and chief super spreader, Connie Fontaine, who also, now I've heard you speak several times. We were joking about this before we started recording, and I really loved the last time that you spoke to all 800 of our senior managers at Holman. It was significant. It was profound. I'll tell you a couple of stories about what happened in my little group. But it was really wonderful. And then reading your book, rereading your book again in prep for this podcast, and again, found so many nuggets of wisdom that I'm really excited about. So without further...
And importantly, that book that you were talking about, Trust Matters More Than Ever. So that's really important. And what I love about this book too is the tools. So it's got 40 proven tools. It's physically laid out. Most people listen to this podcast instead of watch, but if you watch it, it's tabbed. All these little tools are easy to find. So yeah, I agree with Harry. This is a little nugget that I've already gifted it to a new leader. So this is one that we're looking forward to spending some time and really digging in with you today.
And one more thing before we allow you to speak.
We let you talk because we never let guests talk.
One of the things that you said in that last address to all 800 leaders at Holman was how. And man, we take that and run with it. We created an entire podcast series entitled How, talking about how do we practice what it means to be the sun and not the salt? How do we do the things that we all want to do? And literally, it was because of you that we created the how. And let's talk more about the how. If people only listen to this podcast and nothing else, let us hope that they come away with, oh man, I'm going to do a bunch of stuff from now on.
How?
How is right.
Good question. The final how gives hope. If you don't have a final how, many people, spend their life, spend meetings, spend strategic planning, do a SWOT analysis, and want so much something differently, but they don't get to a final how. And that final how gives clarity, that gives hope. It's like, I think I shared it there. It's the How did I lose 52 pounds in 5 months? It took that process. How did the second biggest healthcare organization in North America change their whole organization? It was that
Right.
process that changed them. And 5 years later, they wrote us this very special, the tipping point of change for them in the how process. So yeah, we can talk about that or anything, but
I, I'd love
I think it's important to start there
Yeah,
for
start.
sure.
go there.
Yeah, and I want people to don't tune out if you think you already know about trust, because I think that's the other thing as a leader who's been in the world for a little longer than most of the people I work with. I know trust. I know how to build it. I know, and I thought I was really good at it, and I think I'm still really good at it, but we all can be better. And this is kind of the tenet of everything we talk about in every episode for us, David, is we have to get better at what we do, everything we do, and every day we can get better. And building the trust, it's easy to forget about one of them, maybe clarity or, commitment. One of the 8 C's of your pillars. I think it's important to talk through all of this. So we'd love to jump in wherever you want to start.
well, I think we get to then we'll just have the teaser on the how process because you might think you
Good
know
idea.
it, but you don't. But I think we actually come back to that. So there's your
Great
teaser. It's
idea.
going to be great. It is. We've had people triple sales in 90 days. I've had people have it save their marriage. I've had people use that process to,
Yep.
like I said, I've lost 52 pounds. We've had people beat that by a long shot in their weight. But I think starting at the beginning, I mean, I think it always is helpful to go back to the beginning. And so my grad work, the big finding was maybe the first or one of the first to show how a lack of trust is the biggest cost in a company. I believe you got to start with trust. And I believe a lack of trust is our biggest cost. I think everything of value is built on trust. I think it's a trust issue. And so we don't have a leadership issue. We follow based on trust. We don't have a sales issue. People buy based on trust. Innovation goes up when people trust each other. Otherwise, they won't share ideas. Learning in a classroom only goes up when I trust the professor or the content or the safety or trust of the room. Marketing messages are only amplified when I trust the message. So if we can increase trust, then we actually hit the leading indicator of any big problem. And so I will argue, from my grad work to I think we put out the biggest study or one of the biggest on trust and leadership organizational trust for sure out of North America. Annual study, Trust Outlook, all your audience can have free access to it. But basically, it's if people can shift their thinking and see it as a trust issue, they solve the real issue instead of saying even like engagement. Isn't engagement? Engagement's great, but you don't get engagement with engagement. You only increase engagement when you increase trust. So we have to shift thinking about trust. That was the trust in my 4th book. You noticed, trust matters more than ever. And all, it made my favorite in many ways because it's so tool driven and tactical. Did have a book just come out 2 weeks ago called Trust at a Distance, 6 strategies for building trust in remote workspaces, just because there's people dealing with that very specifically. But as far as a book that just hits 40 tools that people can use tomorrow. So yes, absolutely. Trust is critical. And then there's a way to build it. And, we could talk about this all day long, but just to give a clue, these 8 C's are not just kind of cute little alliteration. They're actually each represent a very important research funnel. The 8 C's are the 8 pillars of trust. These are the ways trust is built globally in context. And so I think we have to set it up with first, trust is critical. It is your greatest asset. A lack of trust is your biggest expense. In person, in life, it's the greatest competitive advantage you can have. That trust is critical. Second, that there's a way to build it. That's the 8-pillar framework. As far as the 8 pillars, there's tools you can use. One of those is that one we'll talk about later, how. But the pillars are clarity. People trust the clear. They mistrust or distrust ambiguous or overly complex. Number 2, compassion. We trust those that care beyond themselves. Number 3, character. We trust those that do what's right over what's easy. Number 4 is competency. We trust those that stay fresh and relevant and capable. This is Connie. This is Harry. These are people, they've been around forever. They've taught leadership. They've taught everything. They know it all, but do they? We don't. The biggest counterforce to this pillar is arrogance. Just like complexity and ambiguity are a counterforce to clarity, arrogance is the counterforce, knowing it all. It's the way we've always done it. That's a counterforce for us. I say often, if you're leading the way you were 5 years ago, I don't trust you. Fully. That doesn't mean we don't want legacy knowledge and we can't learn a load from people that have been around for 100 years. So competence, commitment's the next pillar. We trust those that stay committed in the face of adversity. This is where the framework for rebuilding trust is found. Connection is the next pillar, the willingness and ability to connect and collaborate. We tend to trust on that.
Right.
If you're just siloed, we don't tend to trust that as much as those that are willing to collaborate. Great thing about some things Holman is doing and just how you're collaborating, connecting. It's so cool as an organization. 6th pillar is contribution. The real word. So these C words are for clarity and they do represent the research funnel as well. But the number one word out of this funnel was results. We trust those that contribute results. You can't just have compassion, charity. You gotta get results. You're in sales. You got to give me results, buddy. Come on. We need some results. You got to get sales. Just like compassion, going back to second, is like other words that came out of that funnel were like intent or empathy. Those fit under the compassion pillar.
Right.
So skipping ahead, final pillar is consistency. Sameness is trusted. So in brand, the only way to build a brand, consistency. The only way to build a reputation personally, consistency. For good or bad. If you're late consistently, I will trust you to be late. But that's about as quick of an overview. Is first, I believe, this case for trust. And second, we have this 8-pillar framework, and we could talk about any of those pillars for a full day each. But you have that. Sure. Then there's tactics to build those, or tools we call them. But that gives us, that's more,
gives us a great start.
That gives you a start to go anywhere you want to go.
Well, I think the first thing, a couple of things that you said during that conversation that I heard you speak, and as one, it's a skill. You can learn this. And that's what this book is all about. That's what the tools are about. So that was a good reminder. This isn't just some people are good at it, some people are bad at it. And the second thing is, I think for people who deliver consistently, this is one that, that alone is not going to be enough. If competency is not enough, consistency is not enough, all of it is one big package. And that's how you build trust.
To gain something we come to call the trust edge. Like the trust edge is the greatest advantage you can have in work and life. This doesn't mean we don't weight some of the pillars differently sometimes. Like my pilot, I really hope they have high competency, even if they're not compassionate.
True.
My nanny or babysitter, I want high compassion.
Gotcha.
So sometimes there's times, but in essence, in business and in real relationship in life, we do want all 8 to gain the trust edge.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep. Gotcha.
What I would,
and you can, by the way, one can poison them all. Like the character pillar can poison your confidence. Tiger Woods, in 2 weeks, lost $110 million in 2 weeks in endorsements at one point. The Catholic Church has done so many great things and lost $4 billion in the last decade because of a character issue. So any of these can really hurt the others as far as trust is concerned. Harry.
So I was going to ask you, there's so many things I want to ask you about, but if you wouldn't mind, talk about 2 things. The little things. This is something that I dug in your book, the little things. And how do you regain trust, the quickest, best way to regain trust after trust has been eroded or acted out. So two questions, and I got lots more.
Okay, number one, we say it all the time. If I could spin the computer over through my glass over there, you'd see a big sign that says, it's the little things done consistently that make the biggest difference. Not the big things, the little things. So it is the little things done consistently that make the biggest difference. Little things over time. You think of, in sales, someone has a big win, that's fine. I don't trust them on that. That can happen one-off, one big deal. But I want a salesperson that's consistent because I know they will win. It's the same with, like I said it before, if you're late all the time, I will trust you to be late. It's like consistency is what built that reputation for good or bad. But little things done consistently make the biggest difference. And that is, I'm being the same on stage and off stage. I'm being, I'm treating people fairly, consistently, whatever they look like or however I am the same. I'm being consistent. Aristotle's famous for this quote, who really wasn't Aristotle's, it was his work that Bill Durant put together in content. And that is, we are what we repeatedly do. And when Bill took all this wisdom and said, this is the essence of it, the idea is be a great repeater, because so let's just think about it in a few areas of life. My health is not because of that I overate this morning at breakfast. It is because of little things over time. When I became way overweight, it wasn't because of eating too much that one time. It was because I had too many mocha lattes and scoops of ice cream over years, right? If I'm a good husband, oh, wow, you said I love you at the wedding. That's awesome. Well, that might not be enough 29 years later, right? You know, it's like, it's in business. The problem is we're losing trust every second with every relationship, unless we're consistently building trust. Because just like our body is atrophying, if we don't put the right things in, our relationships are atrophying. Think of the vision. We got a great vision for our company. You don't share that vision or values every 14 days consistently. Nobody knows them, so they're not making decisions by them, which is the only reason to have them. So you can see the power of consistency as far as trust is concerned. On the other side, rebuilding trust. In the book, and it's whoa, I got your awesome book here, Be the Sun. Let's look at that. Don't they kind of go well together? I
guess.
think it's but you have in the book, you have the process for how do you rebuild trust, a 10-step process. Rebuilding trust isn't easy. We've all broken trust in some way, probably. But I guess in a short time together, I would just call us to this. At the end of the day, you only rebuild trust when you do one thing. If you ever have a chance, you will never rebuild it unless you do this one thing. And it's the last in the list of 10. So I'm not dishonoring the other parts. It's great to apologize, but we never rebuild trust on the apology. I'm sorry I'm late. No, you're not. You're late every single time. That doesn't rebuild trust. So it might open the door of communication. Some of the other steps, right? Whether you've had an oil spill as a company or a moral failure as a person, it comes down to one thing, and that is you have to make and keep a new commitment. It is the only way you will ever rebuild trust. If you don't make and keep a new commitment, it doesn't happen. That doesn't mean other parts of this aren't amplifiers. For example, if I've lost trust, I may have to invite more public accountability to rebuild trust. Right. If I had a moral failure with my wife, I used to travel alone. Now you might have to travel with someone if you're going to rebuild trust, as an example. Or someone with an oil spill might okay, you did that. Now you have to have tankers checked every day instead of every weekend. You have to pay for that. There are other things that can increase trust, rebuild it faster. But you'd never do it unless you make and keep a new commitment. Never. Right. And the big problem here, subtlety, is whenever you make commitments you don't keep, a big problem is you lose trust with yourself. So first of all, make commitments really weigh it. With your kids, with your family, with your friends. It's like you make commitments you don't keep. You lose trust with yourself. There's an idea you might have heard. Love your neighbor as yourself. This kind of precludes, if you don't love yourself at all, you have a hard time loving others. And we know people like that. And it's the same with trust. You don't trust yourself at all. You think everybody in the team is poisonous, so you think no one will build trust because you can't do it to yourself. And if you can't make and keep commitments, you will lose trust with yourself. One more thought here is, while it is true at some point, you just might have to let go of a relationship or someone that's never rebuilds trust with you. I'm not saying trust people. I've had people say, I love that trust stuff, David. I'm just going to trust that guy again. Yeah, trust him to do what he did to you last time. That's blunt, But on one side, weigh it. On the other side, on this rebuilding trust piece, I have seen some amazing things happen where trust has been rebuilt when you might have never thought it. So at some point, you might have to pause a relationship, put big accountability in place, other things. On the other side, I have more hope in people than I've seen people change. Actually, I've seen people rebuild trust. I saw now he's passed away, but the opposition, Raila Odinga and President Kenyatta from Kenya, no one would have thought they ever would stand together, get on a stage together, shake hands together. And East Africa noticed what is now known as the Kenya, the hug shake, when
Mhm.
There's Rail Odinga and Kenyatta shaking hands, and it didn't just be a picture, but they actually started to build trust and really a continent of, to some degree, as far as the shining light of East Africa changed. They've got problems again over there. We have problems in North America,
Mhm.
but people for decades would have never said they would build any trust. And,
Mhm.
so.
You're
Well, it takes some courage to admit you're wrong. And I don't remember if this was something you said at the conference or whether it was something at our table, but we talked about a leader who had made a very public boo-boo, who had taken on somebody or been disrespectful and then apologized personally one-on-one. And it was the discussion about, well, how does that person gain trust? Well, that person needs to apologize in front of everybody. They need to,
Yeah.
so you can't make your
Oh,
blunder publicly and then go apologize personally. And it was a really good example of, really measuring trust and, doing the hard
mhm.
stuff. You really got to apologize and make it real and genuine.
Connie, this trust stuff is hard.
It's
It's
hard.
like it's like I remember I had a mentor of mine. He runs a huge company, CEO, and all this stuff. And he said, David, you'd make a lot more money if you just talked about how to help people look trusted instead of be trusted, because they all just want a PR firm. They want to
Yeah.
look it, but they don't actually want to
Mhm.
be trustworthy, right?
Mhm.
That's work.
and
Yes.
and
It's true.
so in the spirit of let's help anyone who's listening to this be more trustworthy, by focusing on the little things. Let's assume that someone's going to listen to this and go, you know what? He's right. I'm gonna. And what is the gonna? And the gonna would be whatever. But I know that, pick these magnetic traits or repelling traits. They can do that.
What
They can do that today, right now. They can finish listening to this and literally go do something that would.
Let's take something. So, well, number one, this might be a shocker, but repelling versus magnetic traits. There's repelling traits that push people away. We all have them. There's magnetic traits that draw people in. Number one most magnetic trait in people. This is just kind of a fun opening, and you know it. That's right. But most people don't.
Yeah.
What if you just think, and you're just listening today, what is the most magnetic trait in individuals? Many of you would say, oh, a smile is a magnetic. It is. A sincere smile is magnetic, not number one. Humility is good. True humility is not number one. Empathy, even. Oh man, that's
Huge.
magnetic. You find someone who can really empathize with
Mhm.
you. Number one, according to this study, was gratitude, as you know.
Attitude. Remember,
And
yeah.
this is so magnetic. And you think of it, if you can find someone not weird, thank you, but I'm saying grateful. That just almost all the negative traits go away.
Mhm.
Grateful people. If you can build this into your life, um, you can hardly be entitled while you're grateful.
Right?
You can hardly be, self-focused when you're grateful, selfish when you're grateful. I mean, almost all the negative traits go away. So let's do James Clear, friend of mine, talks about habit stacking, and
Right?
we were just together at something anyway in Nashville. But basically, let's put tools together. So let's say, okay, we want gratitude or whatever the thing is. Everybody on here, without even reading the book, can think of something that they would like different in 90 days or a month. So now let's go back. We've teased it out, and let's go to the one of the 9 clarity strategies. One of those is how. So the idea on this strategy, if you want to apply it to something like gratitude, would be we generally think in terms of if we're going to take something for clarity and we think, oh, we got to have a why. The truth is, it's great to have a why. I don't want to dishonor Cynic or anybody else's work. It's great to have a why. I hope you have a why. The problem is most people either have the why or they don't. This isn't something by getting away and doing a SWOT analysis. Like, okay, let's write the perfect why. I'm doing this why for my kumbaya. No, you either
Mhm.
got it or you don't. When doctors said a certain thing to me, my why was strong enough to lose weight. I thought it would have been good to be healthier. But I'm telling you, that why of my hanging out with my kids and some other things, like that changed the why, right? So you either have the why or not. So, well, what about who and Colin's work? Get the right who's on the bus. Great stuff. I love having the right who's. I want them in the right spot on the bus. But the questions, these 3 most overlooked questions that actually take an idea to an action. These 3 are, number 1 is how,
Mhm.
easy. Number 2, way more important, how. And number 3, of course, is how, but it might take 7. And this, when people get good at this, we see companies become clarity companies because they go, how. So we want you to do on anything you want to do. Everybody can think of something out there. What's something? You want to be more grateful. I want to gain 10 pounds. I want to have a better relationship with my daughter. Take that thing you want. I want to increase my sales by this. I want to sell something by Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to do that? Then okay, you got that thing? Then how are you going to do that? Okay, then how are you going to do that? How? Here's how you know you have a final how. When you have a who, that's one person, a when, that's a moment in time, 10 a.m., and a where, which is a very specific place.
Mm-hmm.
It could be virtual, but it's got to be a place. Okay.
Yeah.
So this idea is, let's say, our company, we want to be more grateful. We think that'd be grateful to have a culture of, we got a poisonous culture. Okay, great. How are you going to do that? Well, we're going to be nice. Nobody's going to do anything.
Right.
How are you going to be nice? How? We're going to appreciate people. That's a good idea, but nobody's going to do anything yet. It's not clear enough. How are we going to appreciate people?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to write notes. Great. How you can do that? You don't even have a note. Oh, I got to go get a note. How? Until you tell me you're going to write a note every day by 9 a.m. or something, or even a first how could be during this podcast, I'm going to order thank you notes. Okay, right now I'm ordering them on Amazon. That is a final how that starts momentum,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if I turn the computer around over here, you would see thank you notes. I've got stacks of thank you notes here. Empty ones, not ones to me, not how cool I am. I'm saying just empty ones. Why are they right there where I can see them? Right there. Because that, by having them there, it's easy for me to do the thing I want to do at the time I want to do, with a final how, being more grateful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I'm going to write this by this time. On the weight thing, as you know, it's like one of my final hows was, I'm not going to drink a calorie on the plane. That's me, one person, when on the plane, where on the plane. But I was addicted to Coke. So I wasn't going to make you have to ask the question at the end, is that enough of a trigger, or will you actually do it? Because people say, I want to get up earlier. Great. You've had that opportunity for life and you haven't done it. So I do not trust that you're just going to get up earlier, right? So how? Oh, I'm going to go to bed earlier. Great. How are you going to do that? I'm going to do this. How are you going to do that? How? Until they have something they can actually do that will get them to bed earlier, that might get them up earlier. And so for me, it was a Fresca. I'm going to have a Fresca. Well, that's still sweet. Comes in a can, no calories. So my final how was a Fresca, because I would do that. If I just went cold turkey off of anything I open out of a can, it just probably was too big of a leap. Now, of course, a decade later, that's all easier, but that wasn't tomorrow. That wasn't when you were addicted to Coke.
Mm-hmm. I love the grateful point of view too. And I think to your point, what's the most magnetic? And of course, we call it sun and salt. So obviously the same context is, that gratefulness. It is. And the minute I heard it at the conference, I thought, oh, that's why I like that person so much. Not only are they compassionate, all that other stuff, but that gratitude just oozes out. They're grateful for their own life. They're grateful for you. They tell you how specifically and why they're grateful for you. Yeah, that's a trait that everyone that's listening, stop and think, who's that person that exudes that? And don't we all want to be more like that?
So there's another pillar in the book. It's called, that's grateful, but it could be under consistency or contribution. Mm-hmm. And I think this is just fun because right here, it's going by your values. Okay.
Right.
So we weigh our values or our brand usually between two places. Mm-hmm. Like, for instance, engaging, but high quality. Mm-hmm. So what's the begin, like excellence? Okay. So ours is something like this. It's like fun, but engage. At one point it was like fun, but historically like trusted, right? Mm-hmm. Well, if you just weren't if your brand was just like trusted or quality, it could look like an encyclopedia or something, right?
Right.
If it was just hip and fun, it could look like in book form, like this book that has 24 fonts and a bunch of different things. And this is one I read like 20 years ago, but I just think of how it's like, right? It's a different book if you're watching. Okay. So for us, if you look at any of our books, and yours is very similar, all of our books, we only do hardcover. Why? Because our brand is hardcover. It's got to feel trusted.
Rollin. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And like you said, it's got to look, but it's got to be fun and engaging in today's no attention span world, right?
Right.
So this is a way then we get to the contribution pillar, results pillar. And this is one way we're really similar. Like, I love touching this. Why? Because it's the feel of it. I can feel your brand. I can feel your heart. It's a way of loving people because it's fun and it's quality, right? And so this is, I don't know if we didn't do a brand taxonomy or whatever before this, but I bet you there would be some big overlap between Trust Edge Leadership Institute.
Absolutely.
Look, we both are attracted to truth and wisdom and goodness and uplifting others. And the overlap is obvious. And what we want is for more people as people to be more trustworthy and heliotropic. I want to be that from now until I die, and I'm not there yet, but it's getting there. And we both know that the how will get us there. You who've lost weight and are a better husband, father, communicator, and person because you've been working at it. It's not next.
More to do. More to do.
More. What do you mean when you say more to do? And you're thinking about yourself, not any other company, just little old you. When you think about the more to do for yourself, what comes to top of mind? Because you're a very wonderful human being, not a perfect human being, a wonderful human being already. And you still want to be more wonderful for all the right reasons. What comes to mind?
I think what you did, something that comes to mind is what you just said, Harry, and that is, I said do at first, more to do, and you said be, and that's what there's more to be almost. And you get past your 50s like us, and it's like, who do I want to be? And so there's a part of that is becoming always, which for me is all kinds of things. In the midst of speaking about this and sharing about it and believing in trust, I'm totally imperfect at so many things. Clarity comes to mind. I tell my team about clarity, and then I'm unclear with them, and we joke about it. But there's different things. And B, like, I'm a driver too. Like, I love to see results. I love to push things forward. What's the counterforce to that sometimes is patience with my kids or something. So there's always work on that front in this fallen world. On the other side of it, tactical is also okay. B is most important because out of us, you can tell when someone's on stage if they're real or not. You can tell if they're putting input in. Like we say around here all the time, like input leads to output. So if I put certain things in my body, I get certain things out of it. I put certain things in my head, the audience gets certain things out of it. This is getting off the rails a little bit, but I think of two people that you all know, big names. They've written big time leadership books. They're known by everybody in our space, these two people. And I don't think I'll give either one away from what I say here. But everybody out there that's read leadership knows they are mega bestsellers. I've been on stage with both of them and multiple times, I could say. And they're older, and one of them in his 80s, and he is always fresh, and he is amazing, and he is just on stage, off stage. He loves people.
Same guy.
Another one is at 80, I think, and he just does the same stuff from whatever he did from whenever ago, and he's a gazillionaire. But I mean, he calls it in. It's like I just have thought about this because this other one, this is probably the more bigger mega seller, and I thought that's the one I don't want to be like.
Good.
Yeah.
He's the same as he was. He's just calling it in. He gets his $90,000 a speech or whatever it is because of his name, but he's not fresh. He's not relevant. And this one is, and he's joyful and he's fresh. So what does that mean for us going to this next phase? It's like, how do I stay fresh and relevant and capable? That's one thing. And that's in what I'm putting in. It's reading, it's studying, it's all that stuff. And it's also who am I becoming? Because of atrophy, you can get to a certain level of patience, but that's going to atrophy unless you keep at it. right? It's or love or kindness. We have a statement in our company. We call it just love them. How do you love the people well? How do you love the audience well? How do you love? Came out of my wife
I
back when
remember.
I was
Yeah, I remember.
20 something years old. I'm speaking at these events. I'm scared to death backstage. And this is before we had the 4 kids and all that. And she puts her hands on my shoulders and she said, quit thinking about yourself and love them. They can tell when you love them. And like, get your focus off yourself and love them. And
I don't want to lose.
yeah.
It's so simple, profound, and true with multiple implications. If we understand the meaning of that, it's really, quote unquote, all you need to know, which is don't worry about anything. Love them.
Yeah. If there's any word, there's only one word that could possibly be higher, better, deeper than trust.
Yeah.
And it is love. And by the way, we think of it in every level, like this book being high quality and ribbon and really nice paper that we make a publisher do compared to the yellow paper they wanted to do it on cheap.
Yeah.
That's loving them.
Yep.
We think of when people come to our conferences and have everything set up and beautiful, that's loving them. We think of when we only will sell what will help the client's problem, that's loving them, right? So a long time ago, there was something else I was going to say, and I can't even remember it anymore. But
that's okay. You know what? I was going to take what you just said and extrapolate it, because it's not just about, someone with a big stage like you've got, David. It's all of us, whether it's just a leader going to a meeting. Love them. That's the first. Don't come in with the, we talk about, your face is not your own. I mean, as a leader coming in, that's the key. Love on them, open it up, make sure people trust you. And that's just it's going to be the start to a good meeting. Harry's got something important to say. I can tell, though.
No, it just struck me as so profound and simple and true and powerful and a great organizing principle. When your wife told you that, you never forgot it. I was reminded of it when you restated it. And I didn't say anything to her. I handed her, Mindy Holman, a draft of the copy of this book, and she wrote the foreword. And the quote that made me weep when I heard it: you'll find that Harry's teachings are straightforward and simple, and that's part of their beauty. But what makes them truly special is they come from a place of goodness, a place of forgiveness, a place of love. Now, she said that because she knows, and love is what it's really about. I can't say it because it doesn't sound scientific. It doesn't sound cool. It doesn't sound endearing.
I'm going to write a book about love for the business world coming up. I think everything I've done is about trust. 5 books, everything's about trust. But there is something of how they go hand in hand. I know this is a little bit of a jump. I love that, Larry, Harry. But I think there's a one other thing you asked a few minutes ago about, like, kind of what's next. So one thing I wanted to get across, and I think it did, was we can't ever stop working on ourselves. It starts with ourselves first, right? Okay. If we're going to do anything. So that was the input, output. That's the being on stage, who you want to be like. The other part is it is okay to change and think about how we serve people. So out of the Institute, we put a piece of research out every year. We're known for it. We have certified partners around the world that use our work. We have training, 250 people certifying training, whatever. I speak quite a bit, right? I write a fair amount. One thing that's changed a little bit, and it'd be fun to talk about this, especially, I know this for you, Harry, and how you changed and kind of got committed in one space after other consulting and everything. But I said no to kind of executive advisory and coaching for a long time, and I'd sit on boards and I liked that. But as far as like executive work, it was like a couple of years ago, and my chief of staff is with this group, and they keep asking me, and I said no. It's the biggest organization in that industry. Okay. And so he just threw it, and I said, well, for David, he does that, but it'll be this much. And it was like this much a month, and you have to do a year thing, and it's like not even in executive coaching space, right? And it turns out we'd help some people significantly just without pay. Like we had, big companies say we saved them $1 million in a day, and we've had these other ones, whatever. So with just however God made me, however I think, or whatever, something. So anyway, that company's like, absolutely. My leadership team, we're doing it.
Yeah.
What's happened is I still speak, and I'm passionate about that, and you've seen me do that, and maybe there's some gifting or something too. But a really close friend of mine said, you're made to walk by leaders that are alone at the top.
Ooh.
And
To be nice.
One of them's the president of a pro sports team.
Mhm.
Another group is this big financial firm, which all the senior leaders I meet with every month. Another one's the CEO of a financial company. But when you ask me, like, what are the things you will do as you move through it? One of them is a little more of that has been the right
Love that.
thing for me to be doing with, and not that it's that much less speaking, but it's that kind of one-on-one. I really love the engagement that way, interaction one-on-one. So, but executive advisory, call it. The other thing that I want to start, and I'll just throw it out there because I'd love to brainstorm this with you sometime, is more that I've owned the website, the domain, the Trust Table, but it's kind of like this high level executive, but together. So it's not like just Vistage meet every month. It's not this group that you know that's 200,000 a year for each executive, but it's somewhere where we get together. There's a togetherness and there's an advisory piece, and I'm brainstorming, thinking about that. But it's about time that that's going to get started. So that's more tactical, but that fits with my push toward trust and love and more personal, more knowing the people work. Yeah.
I
Work.
reading it, but I love this. And I just hope that people listening go, I'm going to lean into this more deliberately with more attention in the tiniest ways. One of the things that I love about this material is it is easy to do. Now, you say it takes work. Yes, but it's also simultaneously, both things can be true at the same time. It's also easy to do the little things right now today, and people's lives will be transformed to the point of literally, you know what? I'm not going to drink that 300, 400 calories right now. Tiny.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to bite my tongue. I'm not going to say the snarky thing that I'm thinking. Good for you. I'm going to really lean into being more deliberately compassionate or what?
But the punchline to all of that is it's so easy. It's easy to not do.
Yes.
Right.
There's truth to that.
That's our punchline because
right.
it is. And as someone who picks up the book often just puts, I know this stuff. Yes, so do I.
Yeah.
But I work at it every day to be even better at it. Trust. You think it's easy. First of all, that's not easy. That takes time and you have to build on it. But these little things that we talk about, if you look back at every day of your week, do you really do all the little things every day?
That's
probably not.
Well, one thing that I think that we hear at least often at the Institute with our work is the reason people like it so much is because it's born in research, but it's simplified down to something I can use tomorrow morning.
Yep.
So I don't know if that's growing up on the farm or what, where I want to, if that shovel doesn't work, like I got to use a different shovel. I got to use that tool. So you will have organizations only have PhDs and executives, big pharmaceuticals and whatever, like, I love that. It's so great. And I think they're dealing with complex so much. Number one, they don't want kind of a cheesy motivational speaker, everybody yell yes. I don't want that either. I wasn't born for that. I need it built from some research, right? I needed to have, but I also am born in this space where it's got to be so simple. That's why you have in the 40 tools, how, ODC, how do you have a more clear expectation? ODC. How do you increase trust in the midst of conflict? The pause method. Like, these are things I've used and have changed me. Organizations have used, but why do people use them when it's so simple to understand? At least, they might just try it. If it's everybody's overwhelmed. Yeah. So I think, oh, you're overwhelmed. You got a big problem. It's conflict. Let me give you the conflict theory and the 17-step process. I bet it'll help. No way. Hey, let me give you these 4 steps. Think about these next time in conflict. I might try that.
Yeah. One more beautiful plug for your book, because it's layered with beautiful, literally what you just said, example. You know, the great 8 at the end. It's just filled with good, helpful, easy to deploy and apply tools, techniques, behaviors, actions that'll make a difference. By the way,
well, and one of the reasons, I'm sorry, Harry, go ahead. That's YOLO. That's
for wanting to go outside,
He's done. He's had it. He's heard enough of me.
Yes. She's got her way of getting what she needs, for sure. I just want to say too, we appreciate you, because this was, this is a big lift sometimes in December for all of us to get our calendars together. And you can imagine, I mean, for
course.
me, we're seeing leaders going into new positions. The beginning of the year, everyone's searching for, do they have their why? Do they know how to start amping up their leadership? And I know some young people, and like I said, I gifted the book to somebody who's starting a big position, a little afraid, biggest organization he's run. And I said, here's where to start. I'm telling you, over the holidays, look at this. You're going to find a tool. You don't even need to tell your team you got a tool. Just
Yeah.
pick up something that works and start Monday when you get back. And I just love that this book enables somebody to take an easy step towards being a great leader, a great husband, a great wife, a great anything. So
Love that. David,
Yeah.
this is your chance. Final word. Leave people with something that will stick. Now, I know that's a challenge, but do it anyway.
Well, I think you get too many things in one podcast. It can be a lot, but I love this work. There's a load to it. But if I was going to just think about something through the holidays right now, actually, I would go back to something we've said, and that is, it's the little things done consistently that make the big difference. So what are the little things? What are the little things you'll do? Because
Yeah.
people say, I'm going to do this big thing, and they're not. But what's a little thing? I want to do a big, we just got away to the, our strategic plan. We got 50 marketing ideas. Great.
Right.
But which one will you do consistently? Give me
Right.
1, 2, or 3 you'll do. You can have 1,000 great marketing ideas. The only ones that work are the ones you'll do consistently. So pick 1 or 2 consistent ones.
Right.
Oh, I got to do all this with my weight. I got to do this with my weight. What will you do
Right.
consistently? I'll stop drinking a calorie. I'm not going to stop ever eating ice cream.
Yeah. Yep.
I got to figure myself out. What will you do? I slow down on ice cream, but I'm not going to say no to ice cream forever.
Right.
It's not going to happen. So what will you do? What's the little things that you will do? For me, easy to switch to Fresca, easy to not drink any juice at breakfast, easy to, relatively. So I would pause right now. If I was going to just think of actionable, what are the little things you'll do that could make the biggest difference? And then the other thing is, I would take the 8-pillar framework and put them out and just say, okay, what's the real problem? Because it's not engagement, it's not communication, it's not leadership, it's one of these 8. And then you can dive into actually solving something real.
I think that's great advice.
My brother,
Great advice.
thank you to Connie's point. Thank you for making time. Your point about showing
Of
up.
course.
You showed up, and showing up is the whole kit and caboodle. Look at you. You're showing up with giving us all of yourself, and the love comes through, brother.
Yeah, with passion and commitment.
Thank you for the invitation. Oh, thank
you.
you. Keep
We
doing the
appreciate
good.
your work.
Keep doing
Yes.
it good.
Be the sun.
All right. Be the sun.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.